background first because, alright, one moment, Prof.
Dr. Harawati, can you say something? Tadi I mute the microphone.
Okay, Prof.
Okay. Loud
Morning.
and clear.
How are you,
Hi,
Prof?
morning. Yeah, okay,
Prof,
alhamdulillah.
because
Okay, loud and clear.
one
Okay.
moment. I am trying to connect my another device.
Okay, yeah. Dr. Harawati, can you say something? Tadi I mute the microphone.
Okay, Prof.
Right. Okay. YouTube, okay. Right. Akan mulakan exactly at 9, ya.
Okay, Prof.
We don't expect big group sebab dia specific the iPad kan.
Okay, no worries.
Yeah, but I hope many of the iPad users di dalam BSM dapat menggunakan peluang inilah. Tapi yalah mungkin some of them having class now kan.
Sure.
Tak ada kelas, Dr. Arwah kita ada kelas semester ni?
Ada. My class is on Monday, Thursday and Friday.
Monday, oh semalam lah.
Semalam, yes.
Mengajar apa?
This semester academic writing, language learning strategies.
Academic writing, ya?
Yes, academic writing.
Okay. Let's see how many on YouTube. Okay. Right. Emma.
How are you, Prof?
Okay. Agak keletihan sikit. Semalam back to back webinar kan.
Oh dear.
Itulah.
It's the new norm.
Itulah. Badan pun sekarang tak macam dulu lagi dah. Yalah. Age is catching up, I guess.
But you always look young, Prof. I'm trying to connect with my another device. Looking for the link.
Dr. Ahmad Fuad from kampus kesihatan ini. Dr. Ahmad Fuad kesihatan Ahmad Nazri. Azlinda.
So I have my another device in already. Alright, okay.
Okay.
Let me try to share if I can share. Great. Yes, okay.
Yeah, you can share now also. Check.
Let me try. Share screen.
Okay. Coming up. Okay. Wow. Okay. Nice screen. iPad
Yes.
Pro,
iPad
Pro.
iPad Pro, Prof. But the first
Okay.
generation.
Oh yeah.
Not the second one. Still collecting money for the second one, cik. Tahu tabung mana nak pecah.
Tabung ayam dah pecah dah ya.
Betul lah, tabung ayam dah pecah, dah macam-macam pecah dah. So,
okay, pukul 9. Kita boleh mulakan ya?
boleh, Prof.
Okay.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
So, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat pagi, selamat sejahtera kepada semua rakan-rakan pensyarah USM yang dapat hadir pada pagi ini dalam Webex. Sesi Webex kita pada pagi ini bersama dengan Dr. Harawati Hashim, ya, yang akan menjadi fasilitator bagi bengkel kita pada pagi ini yang berkaitan dengan using Notes and Notability Apps for to prepare interesting teaching material. So I think that's very interesting. I remember those early days of using iPad when I started using iPad. very few people actually using iPad to create content for teaching. But now I'm very happy to see, especially in UKM, especially we have many champions of iPad, and you work closely dengan Apple, and many of you also now become already Apple distinguished educator,
Yes.
Apple ADE,
ADE, Prof.
Dr. Harwati pun dah ADE dah kan?
Belum, Prof. Road to
Oh, belum
ADE.
lagi. Belum ADE.
Road to ADE.
Hasana, Dr. Hasana dah jadi ADE.
Sana belum
Hmm.
professional learning provider lah.
Oh, I see. All
We are
right.
now
But
professional learning provider.
yeah, but it's already there. You are already in the circle, which very good. So pada hari ini kita akan dapat mempelajari new tricks of the trade, how to fully utilize apps dalam kita punya iPad. So if you happen to, well, I guess all of you here own iPad, otherwise probably you wouldn't be here unless you are here just to kind of observe and explore. Yeah. But otherwise, if you own an iPad, it's an it's an expensive piece of gadget. Therefore, we must fully utilize it, not only for our own personal use, but for teaching, especially for professional use, of course. So terima kasih dapat hadir. Welcome to all of you. Is one of the webinar series brought to you by Center for Development of Academic Excellence, CDAE. And my name is Abdul Karim Alias, the director of CDAE. So thank you to Dr. Harwati for accepting our invitation again. And I hope we will have you again, even this year, if you can find the time to conduct a few more on iPad, for us. So let me introduce a short biodata of Dr. Harwati Hashim. She is a senior lecturer at the Center for Teaching and Learning Innovation, Faculty of Education, UKM, Universiti Kebangsaan Malaysia, and specializing in mobile assisted language learning, or MALL, MALL. Her areas of concentration are mobile learning, technology enhanced language learning, TEL, as well as innovative pedagogy and the use of technology in language teaching and learning. So if any of you are from language background or from school of language literacy terjemahan, terjemahan dan bahasa. Panjang nama, saya lupa. Kat sini kami panggil solat. Solat, ya. PBLT, Pusat Pengajian Bahasa, Literasi dan Terjemahan, tu dia. Okay. So if any of you from this background, if you are interested to do any research related to language and integration of technology in language teaching and so on, I guess you can communicate with Dr. Harwati, maybe opportunity to collaborate there.
Inshallah.
So she is an educational technology enthusiast and learning practitioner, mobile learning practitioner, and also a certified Apple teacher. She has involved in more than 50 webinars and workshops that cover topics such as digital pedagogy. Pedagogi ke pedagogi?
Pedagogi.
Pedagogi, ya, okay. Teknologi, kenapa teknologi bukan teknologi? For teaching and learning, innovations, research and publication, as well as active learning. And for your information, everyone here, Dr. Harwati and UKM Group, they have been very, very strong and very visible conducting various webinars, training on teaching and learning. And they have a long history since the days of Dato' Amin, Dato' Amin Nambi, Prof. Noazah, now Dato' Noazah, now the Dean of Faculty of Education and so on, So long history, and now the new so-called new kids on the block, the new generation. Very proud of you. So silakan Dr. Harwati, let's start the workshop and I pass over to you.
Thank you so much, Prof. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Do you hear my voice clearly or
yes, very clear?
Alhamdulillah, insyaAllah. Alhamdulillah.
Oh, senior pun ada kat sini ni, Profesor Zubir.
Wah, okay.
Ini memang true lifelong learner ni.
I can
Good
see Dr.
example for the
Azida
young
as
people.
well. Our seafood, Dr. Azida, thank you so much. Okay,
Oh, kita sudah,
next,
baru masuk. So,
next
kita nampak.
renewables. Okay,
Tu
thank you.
Profesor Zubir tu, lambai tu.
Itulah.
Tengok kerusi dia pun gamer punya kerusi tu. Jangan
Alamak,
main.
I don't have any gamers share.
Okay, Assalamualaikum.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you again,
Waalaikumsalam.
Prof. Karim. Thank you CDAE USM for the invitation. Thank you so much lah sebab tak serik dengan saya, insyaAllah. When Prof. Karim invited me for a sharing, I believe that what I would like to deliver the most is to leverage the use of iPad. When it comes to the use of technology, of course, we want to have a device that we can fully utilize, and one device that we can leverage in our daily activities or daily routine, including teaching and learning. So again, thank you again, Prof. Karim and CDAE USM for the invitation. And today, I would like to share still on iPad, but I would like to give a little bit of twist to the teaching and learning approach as well as to the content creation. Actually, even though the title is Teaching with Notes and Notability, but it can be both synchronously or asynchronously. Synchronously means if you want to have an online lesson, online meeting with our students, so we can have our content drawn live. We can draw live synchronously, or if we want to have our content pre-recorded as a learning content to be shared with our students, that can also be done. So let me share my screen. Okay, thank you so much everybody for participating in today's session. Please bear with me. I hope it's okay if all participants are having your iPad. I hope your iPad is already updated and installed with Notes. As for Notability, if you don't have Notability, it's okay because Notability is actually a paid apps, but I will explain to you in detail why it is worth buying. Okay, so because I bought myself Notability and it is a lifetime license, so you don't have to pay yearly. Okay, so let me just share my keynote. Okay, but before doing that, just to build some rapport with USM lecturers, my beloved participants, I can see my seafoods, even Prof. Karim is my seafoods, Dr. Azida, yeah, so many seafoods in here. Please bear with me. I am just the new kid on the block, so as mentioned by Prof. Karim. BBNU, kalau bahasa hipster, BBNU, budak-budak baru nak up. BBNU. So I would love everybody to just turn on your camera for a while, and I hope everybody can kindly introduce yourself in the chat feature by stating your name and your department or your faculty. I will get to that once in a while because even though Prof. Karim, thank you so much for introducing myself, for the brief introduction about me. But please allow me to also introduce myself in a very brief way. Okay, so today I'm going to share with everybody on how to teach with Notes and Notability apps. So I'm going to touch two apps today, Notes and Notability. Again, the name is Harwati Hashim. I am from the Faculty of Education UKM. Yeah, Dr. Muhammad Zikri, thank you for coming. So currently I am a senior lecturer and the head of undergraduate program at the Research Center for Teaching and Learning Innovations, Faculty of Education UKM. My areas of concentration are mobile learning, TEL, technology enhanced language learning, innovative pedagogy, and active learning, language learning strategies. And at the faculty currently, I'm covering courses such as social media in language learning, or in short, we call it SMILE, language learning strategies, teaching writing, current approaches to TESOL, as well as academic writing. So I am a member of Pacific Computer Assisted Language Learning, or known as PACCOL Association, as well as Mobile Learning Association Malaysia, as mentioned by Prof just now. we were actually being trained by Prof. Amin, Prof. Datuk Muhammad Amin MB. And currently I am an Apple teacher and also a certified Apple professional learning provider. But inshallah, road to Apple Distinguished Educator ADE. There are a few things to fulfill before we can apply for ADE. So for this course, at the end of this course, participants will be able to, this is what the objective of this course, which is to understand the concept of deep understanding and visual note taking. I will first explain, I will take everybody to understand what is deep understanding and why visual note taking. And then we will go into how to create graphic and images that replace the standard word-only notes, meaning that if we were to share PowerPoints or presentation to our students, instead of having word-only notes, how can we use graphic and images that can replace those wordy elements? And at the end of the session as well, I hope that all participants are able to teach with Notes and Notability Apps instead of having your slides prepared in advance. Maybe after this, if you have the courage, if you want to challenge yourself and move beyond comfortness, try to teach using Notes and Notability synchronously with your learners, drawing live, inshallah. I hope at the end of the session. So I'm going to touch these 3 key points in my session, deep understanding and visual note taking, create graphics and images, as well as Notes and Notability. As I mentioned just now, if you don't have Notability, it's okay. Even if you don't have iPad, it's okay. Take this session as for you to get to know what are the technologies that can be utilized within the iPad itself. So we have touched on many things before this. I had a session with USM before this on how to use Keynote to create animation and to have engaging content. But as for now, today I would like to touch on another native apps in iPad, which is Notes. Only Notes is native apps. Notability we have to pay, but I will explain further later. So all right, so yes, Prof. Keynote itself is a very powerful apps. So you don't have to have any other software or tools for us to create our content. So I'm going to divide my session into this a few slots. So the first slot is going to be overview, and then I will start with teaching with Notes first, because Notes is the native apps which is already available in iPad, and then I will touch on how to use Notability. These two are very simple and user-friendly apps that is amazing, that are so amazing for us to use. And before we end our session, I will have about half an hour for conclusion and Q&A. Anything if you like to clarify or if you like to ask, or as we are doing our hands-on, if you encounter problems, encounter issues, so we can have this half an hour for us to revisit whatever hands-on activity that we have done. So if you have iPad, it's good for you to use a different device for the webinar and make use of the iPad as for your hands-on tool. If you don't have any other device, it's okay. At the same time, you may want to just look around and then ensure that you know as to which part that we are talking about. Okay, so I hope everyone is ready. Maybe I can just go through the chat feature for a while just to say hi to everybody. Okay, so I can see Prof. Yes, thank you, Prof. Assalamualaikum, Dr. Ahmad Fuad. Okay, right, and yeah, Prof. Notability is worth buying. Yes, Prof. And what more, they are having sales now. Last time I bought Notability for 39 ringgit 90 cent. That is already cheap, but now they're having it as 16 ringgit and 90 cent. I'm not sure up until when, but Notability is on sale. I think it is like 399 USD. To be converted into ringgit Malaysia, it is around 16 ringgit something, 17 ringgit. We can double check. All right, so now let's go into deep understanding and visual note taking. So we often encounter these problems when we teach our students what more online learning. Okay, so what we want to say doesn't always deliver to the learners. If you can see the character with the Z sleeping image, what they are interested in is always as opposed to what we want to say. So at the end, if you were to see the circle, the Venn diagram, the overlapping part is very small because we keep on delivering, telling them in the end, this is not what they want to hear, or perhaps this is not what they are interested in. After 1 or 3 hour session, at the end of the day, the relevance part is very small. If you can see the overlapping part in the circles, what we call Venn diagram, the overlapping parts is very small. Okay, so what happened? What do you think happened in this kind of situation? Are we too ambitious of delivering what we want? Or are we like trying to finish our syllabus? And then in the end, we don't really bother whether the students are interested to listen or what, or whether they are listening or they are not listening. Okay, so that is the issues. We may think, or in a way, we may think that students are interested to listen to what we are trying to deliver to them, but in the end, on the other hand, it is this reality that we have to face in our teaching and learning. Okay, so the relevant part is very small, right? But before that, we have to really understand what is deep understanding. Deep understanding is not just using images, not just delivering information, but deep understanding is actually to be able to use minds well through deep engagement in learning. So this is what stated by Dunleavy and Milton 2008. To be able to have deep understanding, a students, a person or individual used to use their minds well through deep engagement. That means the key is engagement. So we need everybody to be engaged with the learning content. We need everybody to use their mind very well. Okay, so again, remembering pieces of factual information alone is not deep understanding. If we are able to give a lot of information to our learners and in the end they are able to vomit back, let's say if we were to give them tests, they are able to vomit back, they are able to give you the factual information alone, it is not deep understanding. Deep understanding is to be able to put pieces together and to use such understanding to do other things, like for example, problem solving, making analysis, creating new ideas, to have pro and cons, a lot of analysis going on. So in the end, they make pieces of whatever they have learned and use such understanding to come up with a new thing. Okay, so that is what we meant by deep understanding. And what is visual note taking? Why do we have to use visual note taking for deep understanding? Why not just do things as it is traditionally without having to have drawing, for example? Okay, but what is visual note taking? Okay, as you can see from the drawing on your left, okay, you can see instead of telling the students about things, so you can just draw and then perhaps label the leaf together with your students. So this is some sort of example of visual note taking. Okay, all these I use Keynote. Okay, yeah, Prof. There are some shapes that we can make use in the Keynote itself. There are some shapes that we need to draw. So as you are seeing the leaf here and the tree, the plant, these are all available shapes in Keynotes. So it is very user-friendly and easy to use. So visual notes are drawing that use a combination of text. So we have sort of a few text and also imaginary, which is the drawing to convey key points. One thing that we need to remember is those we convey, the words that we use are only key points. Either presentation, from meetings, class lecture, or anything. So really, it can be of anything that we can use to have our visual notes. Okay, but you must be asking, why use visual note taking in education? We use visual note taking, yes, our learners use visual note taking when they listen to our lecture. But why lecturer has to use visual note taking to deliver content? Some lecturers might have that kind of thinking. Yeah, we do agree. Learners use visual note taking as they are listening to us. But why? Instead, that here I'm proposing that lecturers, teachers twist. We ourselves use visual note taking when we deliver our content with our learners. Okay, but why? Why use visual note taking? Because number one, we allow students to create personal meaning and relevance. As we are drawing live, that is the challenge, because we may need to draw live, or you can have pre-recorded if you are not sure or you are not confident when you are delivering. Okay, so we allow students to create personal meaning and relevance as we are teaching them, as we are drawing. Learners will have to be able to listen attentively and make meaning to whatever drawing that we have with them. And then, of course, drawing can increase comprehensions and data retention. So in a way, depends on types of learners. I myself is a visual learner, so I do understand better by using visuals, looking at visuals, images, objects, and so on. So for me, it is more comprehensible, easy to understand as compared to write up. A lot of writing. I myself is a very lazy person to read, I would say. Okay, but check our learners with the what type of learners they are. Okay, and of course, studies have shown that note taking, visual note taking, helps students to synthesize big ideas, because when we have small ideas, key ideas, key points that being combined in one visual notes, in the end, it helps the students to have the big ideas, the whole umbrella or the whole story of what they are learning, from chunks of drawing until they have understood the big ideas of the content. And studies also shows that visual note taking increase engagement. That is undeniable in a way. What more if we have our students to collaborate with us in the visual note taking? That can be done as well. If you are not confident of your own drawing yourself, we can always have a plan B. If we have a student with iPad, if we don't have, then fine, it's okay. We can collaborate with them, the documents that we have, and ask them to actually add in to brainstorm or to the visual note taking based on their own perspective. So it is a collaborative work as well. So adding a visual increased retention rate. Okay, so that is undeniable as well. Studies have shown that, and we believe that we take in our daily info visually. So a lot of eyes, the use of visuals, seeing things and so on. So this is a very simple note taking done by me. Okay, a very simple one. Don't worry about being messy, because note taking is always about impromptu. So messy is somehow subjective, and it is always arts. Okay, but I'll share with you what are the things needed for note taking. What are the main elements for note taking? It is very important for us to understand in note taking what are the elements. I myself is not a design student, or I am not an art student, but I do read a lot and understand how note taking is used visually, is delivered visually. Okay, so combining visuals with text is simply more engaging. I hope everybody is agree with me. Prof sayang cucu tapi Apple Pen pun sayang juga. Okay, yeah, I can see some of you saying that iPad is very costly. But if you were to have an iPad and an iPad pencil, mine is only Gen 1. I'm not selling for Apple, don't worry. I don't have any salary. I'm not being paid by Apple. But it's just that I'm telling everybody that as long as you have one iPad, if you were to invest, just invest straight away for iPad Pro, because that is the most powerful among all iPad. Even if you don't have, if you think that it's still costly, you can always end up with the ordinary iPad. I think the 1,007 ringgit, the minimum with the minimum specs, but it is still useful. But if we do a lot of things with our iPad, I would suggest iPad Pro. And you may want to invest this iPad pencil as well. Then only we can have our visual note taking, teaching using notes and notability with our learners. So it takes steps, process. But I am very glad that everybody is here today, regardless of whether you have iPad or you don't have iPad. As long as you get to know what can you use with your iPad or leverage. Like for example, maybe before this you have iPad, but you rather give it to your children, or as Prof said, cucu main tengok YouTube dekat iPad. After this, if you know the power of iPad, you will not, your children or your cucu will not be able to make use of the iPad for their YouTube. Okay, now mommy is creating something for my learners, for example. All right, so let's get into creating graphic and images. Okay, right, yes, visual and text is always good combination. Okay, there are a few fundamentals of visual note takings that you need to understand. In visual note takings, we need to have letters. Letters could be of our own handwriting, or if you want to make use of the letters in the iPad itself to be typed out, that's also fine. But usually if we have visual note taking, everything is so impromptu, and therefore letters is one of the fundamentals part in visual note taking. And also letters represent different meaning. Like for example, if we were to write capital letter, it could be representing the headings. If we were to use small letter, it could be the subheadings. Or perhaps if we want to emphasize something or highlight something, the word is written using capital letter. So we need to bear in mind the element of letters is very important in note taking. And then bullets. As in note taking, we may use a lot of bullets. So it could be in a form of circle, it could be in a form of square, or it could be in a form of diamond, stars, what do you call, hashtag, the hashtag, that can also become bullets. And then in a way, we do need frames. Okay, sometimes we have bubbles, mind mapping bubbles. So we need the dialogue bubble, we may need that the power, the kapow, what do you call, diagram. And then we may need sort of banner. So those are the things that we need, frames. We need connectors, whether we want to use arrows, we want to use zigzag, lines, scribble. Those are connectors in fundamental in note taking. And then we need shadows. Okay, why shadows? Because it makes our note taking more lively. As you can see in the images, you can see the mark with a little bit of shadows, and then you can see the car with a little bit of shadows under the tire. A few shadows coming in just to make it more lively. And then we need pips, which actually people either stickman. Okay, it can be of, if you are good at drawing, go ahead, draw a full people of representing your note taking. Or you want to use stickman, like I myself, I usually end up with stickman because I am not happy with the nose. Nose and mouth is those two are very difficult figures for me. So I always end up with stickman, orang lidi. It is much easier. Or if you can have your own drawing, up to you. If you can come up with your own character, that is all up to you, your own creativity. Always try to practice on stickman first. That would be a good way of practicing in drawing people. Okay. And then, of course, for note taking, we have to pay attention to how things are arranged. And we do have summary as well. If you have to have summary, you may want to put a stars. If you have a lot of process going in, so you may have to arrange things accordingly using whatever elements is now, fundamental things is now, the arrows, the bullets, and so on. A lot of elements coming in. That helps us to actually arrange our visual note taking. Okay, so if you can see how to make visual notes here, there are a few conditions. Okay, for us as a lecturer, either we want to have these visual notes during a talk, or we want to have our visual notes for our students to give lecture, or we want to have our visual notes as a presentation. I have never seen any presentation, especially conference with visual notes. That would be great if we can do that. But usually in a conference, we get nervous. So I haven't tried presenting using at conference using visual notes, but I have tried at a talk. I have tried for lecture, and in a way, of course, we get tired after everything ends, but it was a satisfying session. Okay, and of course, in visual note taking, it has to be synchronized. As we speak, it has to be synchronized with whatever we are visualizing. Yeah, like because our mind has to have a synchronization with our hands. So we must be able to have a good imagination as we are speaking to our audience. At the same time, perhaps, maybe if you don't have idea, we may end up with just writing the words. But after writing the words, you may come up with elements. So we have to have sort of what elements to be drawn with the word. Like for example, when we say speak, you can just draw mouth or lips. When we say synchronize, as what I represented the head and the brain, and then visualize the eyes as well as the pencil. And I mentioned just now, in making visual notes, of course, it is very important for us to look into font. Either we want to have italic, not italic, capitalization, small letters, and so on. Colors also play important roles. Arrows play important roles. And of course, our finger sometimes keras. Alamak, jari jadi keras pula. There are times it happens. Okay. And then stylus. Okay, stylus, or in a way, if you have, I'm using Apple Pencil. If you have Apple Pencil, so we need this. We need images, a lot of images in our head. Finger keras, jari keras, bro. We need images, a lot of images in our head. And then, of course, in the end, drawing. But ask yourself, why not? Okay, and when to use? What to use? These are the things that we can consider in our in making visual notes. Okay, right. So the benefits of visual note in teaching and learning, number one, because we have talked about the benefits. Why using visual notes? Of course, color visuals increase willingness to read. Because this is a study done a lot of researchers, and I quote one person saying that color visuals increase willingness to read. That willingness to read is very important because we are tired of doing things. We have prepared so much and we want our learners to just to have willingness to read. That is good enough. Okay, then color visuals increase willingness to read, creates more ideas. People learn better visually. We have talked about it just now. People remember content and improve comprehension. Those are the things that we want to have with our learners, especially when it comes to deep understanding. Okay, this is an example of a very simple visual note taking. If you don't want to use images, but try to use drawing as well, because only with drawing and words, the combinations are more powerful and meaningful. Okay, so right, the arts and science of visual note taking, we can see visual learners, it is more accessible, it promotes comprehension, and number one is to improve recall. As we are teaching our learners, it would be helpful for them to recall whatever they have learned, because seeing is believing. Because if they can visualize it, they should be able to recall, inshallah. And it creates emotional connections. Okay, so the question is, how to have a visual note-taking based teaching. This is what our core thing today. I was talking about deep understanding and how can we use images and graphics in our visual note taking, and how do we use this? What do you think? Is it doable? Maybe you can share your answers in the chat box. Is it doable for us to do visual note taking? Those participants, yes, doable, Prof. Thank you. What do you think, the rest of the participants? Is it doable for you, for every one of us, to actually teach without having our PowerPoint prepared? as if like we are teaching them in front of class, face to face, but now we are drawing our content to deliver whatever we have with our learners. As we are drawing, it is hoped that in the end they're going to have a deep understanding of learning. Yes, thank you, Doctor. So inshallah we can do this. All right. So these are examples. The left one is by teacher Farah. Teacher Farah is teaching science. You can see she's using Notability to create this type of notes as teaching, because once you have this, after you have done this with your students when teaching, this can be saved in the end as a visual notes, which can be given to your learners in the end. It will not be wasted. In fact, after you have finished one semester, if you have every lesson delivered in visual note taking, in the end you can have a compilation of visual module, especially those subjects or those courses which are very comprehensive or very difficult to understand, like for example perhaps maths subjects, because maths subjects, it is not all about calculation. You may end up with drawing elements of fundamental concepts that need to be understood by the learners before calculating certain formula. Mind me, I am not a mathematician because I am a language person, but I believe it is very important for us to get things, formulation to be connected, to be able to conceptualize in daily activities, in daily use. So that is why it is very encouraged that those who are teaching maths, if you can visualize and mix conceptualization of whatever they are learning into drawing, I hope it helps students in understanding fundamental concept of mathematics easier. Okay, so we can see the other example, eating on a budget in Japan. So again, drawing, a combination of drawing and words as well. Okay, these are all doable, inshallah, with a lot of practices. Okay, but start somewhere. Okay, so I'm going to touch on two apps for today. One is Notes and one is Notability. As I mentioned just now at the beginning of the session, so Notes is a native app. It is already available in the iPad. If you have your iPad with you, you can check whether you have Notes or not. So how to check? Okay. All right. So just find in search and type Notes. It is there. It is supposed to be there because it is a native apps. Maybe you can share in the chat box if you are used to it or you have been using it a lot, perhaps not for teaching, but for your daily notes during meeting. Or if you haven't used it, try to open up now and find your notes on your iPad. Okay, that is one. And another one is Notability. If you were to have Notability installed, don't worry, just go to App Store, okay, and find Notability. Just find Notability, okay, and then install. Sorry, mine is already installed, so it doesn't come up. Okay, here, right. So this is what we want, these Notability apps, but it is worth buying, true, indeed. Thank you, Prof, for mentioning that just now. Prof using Notes for daily notes, right, for daily meetings and everything. So that's great. At least you are familiar with Notes. Okay, now it's just the matter of transferring, using Notes for yourself, but using Notes with your learners. Okay, all right. So I'm going to open back my. So first things this morning, okay, so I'm going to go a bit slow. Bear with me. If you have your iPad, let's do this together. If you don't have your iPad, it's okay. Take it as exposure, a session to expose to you to the new knowledge. Okay, so I'm going to touch with the first thing, which is using Notes apps. So this is Note app, so I'm going to show you my Note apps. Okay, let's have a very quick tour of Notes apps, right? So I have my notes here. So this is the dashboard of Notes apps, okay? So if you have never used your Notes app, it is very empty. If you have been using it, there are a lot of files here, all of your notes, okay? So it is all arranged in grid form in your, yes, Dr. Azida, use both Notes and Notability. Suka sangat, great. So at least we have few people who are very familiar. You can add in to whatever I'm sharing now. So I'm always open for sharing of participants. Okay, so we have our notes here on the dashboard. Okay, so let me just open one. Let's say, okay, this is one example of notes. So as Prof mentioned just now, we can also use notes for our daily activities. Like I myself, I sometimes when I want to think or when I want to have ideas, I will have to draw so that my ideas is flowing. So this is example of a project that actually discussed with my supervisors. So we sat down together as we were discussing on her thesis, on her work. So we came up with drawing, and of course we have our objective, we add in videos, and then we put in examples. Of course, we have our project summary, why, we put in a few information in one file, and of course we have other references embedded, like for example, scan document, embed in one file, and then we put our checklist, for example. Like when we are discussing this with our students, we can have everybody to look at the same material and know what to do, rather than showing our slides and talk about it. And now we can just simply change things there and then with our learners. If you were to have, like, let's say we have done evaluate, we can just tick evaluate for the checklist to just update everybody that this is where we are now. So this is using, we can also include schedule, and this is how we discuss together in terms of storyboard of what we are doing. Okay, so these are actually using notes. Okay, all right. Like for this is just example. I will go through after that. So don't worry. So there are a lot of things that can be done in notes. All right. Okay. Now talking about content for lecture. Just now probably is more of discussing, more of discussion, more of our own keeping, making to-do list. Yes, as mentioned by Prof just now, we use notes daily. When we attend meeting, we want to jot down things, and of course we have checklists and everything. But try to twist the use of notes to become our content for lecture. Okay, so let's look at notes again. Now, if you were to open your notes apps, you can see that on top, on your right, okay, the three dots. Okay, if you were to tap on the three dots, you can make changes to how it is look, the interface. You want to view as a list, you can change. It is going to be as a list like this, or if you want to view, sorry. Yeah, okay, so this is a list. Okay. If you want to change to, oops, sorry. Okay, let it be. All right, so this is a list, the list of folders that we have. Okay, and then the pin one is the one that we have for, if you were to have one important, what do you,
Saya pernah berlaku juga sebelum ni. Tak tahu kenapa lah, mungkin on the Webex site.
I think the Webex itself.
Yeah.
So the internet is fine. Tiba-tiba terkeluar, sorry.
Itulah. It's not your fault. Apa ni?
Okay, maybe we wait for 1 or 2 minutes for the participant to come in back to the room.
Kalau terklik exit tu, dia tak boleh straight keluar macam tu sebab dia akan tanya lah kan.
Betul, dia ada notification.
End the meeting, dia ada step untuk tu. So ini memang Webex ni yang terminate for whatever reason lah.
Betul. Maybe Webex punya platform yang ada problem. Tak pasti dekat YouTube dia bersambung semula ke Prof?
Dia sambung semula.
Sambung
Dia akan
semula.
sambung semula ya. So tadi kita ada berapa ya sana? Masa sebelum exit tadi? Berapa orang semua?
Lama saya. Saya pun
Silap saya.
40 lebih macam tu kot.
Ya. Okay. Saya pun tak perasan tadi. So maknanya ada yang tengah nak masuk balik.
45 doktor ya.
Okay. I tak check tadi number of participant. 45 ya? 48, 45. Okay, 40 plus lah. Alright, just wait maybe 1 or 2 more minutes kot.
Okay Prof.
Mungkin orang tertanya-tanya, apa? What happened?
Saya pun takut saya tertekan keluar ke, tapi
Tak boleh, sebab kalau kita terklik apa-apa pun, dia akan tanya kan, sama ada kita nak end the meeting ke, or end ataupun exit saja ke kan.
betul.
So you cannot just one click then stop everything, no. So must do the Webex lah.
Semua kena tendang. Semua lock automatically.
Semua kena tendang.
Tak apa, things happen insyaAllah.
Okay.
Okay, maybe a few more coming in.
Thank you. 38.
Okay, shall we continue Prof? Maybe
Just give another 1 minute ke?
1 minute, okay Prof.
Ya, kesian pula yang mungkin tadi yang ni kan, dia tak. Tapi apa ni, saya tengah type komen tadi, saya nak kata, actually maybe it's good idea kan, kalau kita punya PowerPoint, instead of just normal PowerPoint all the 20 slide for example, kita boleh mixkan dengan slide yang ada kita punya drawing, kita punya notes, handwriting punya notes kan.
Betul.
So dia kind of kita personalize sikit lah, kita personalize sikit instead of just normal standard text PowerPoint walaupun gambar cantik-cantik ke apa ke, still okay. Cuma saya rasa kalau tambah a few slide dengan kita punya lukisan, tulisan kita, I think that will give the some form of personalization kan.
Yes,
Maybe
agree.
I should try to do that lah.
That's why I suggest to use Notes or Notability, even though we can draw in Keynotes, but in a way, if we were to use Keynote, we have in mind that it is still in a form of slide. So tendency is that we have a lot of words as compared to a drawing. But if we were to use Notes, it is a blank slate whereby we ourselves need to start thinking and generate the keywords. But I do agree, as you mentioned just now, if we can prepare the words in advance, meaning that even though we use Notes, we can make the brainstorming part earlier. As we are teaching our learners, we can add in drawings as we are explaining. That will be great as well. At least we have things prepared and a more of structured when presenting our content.
Okay kot, ada 40, so boleh kot pelan-pelan.
Alright. Meanwhile, ada soalan daripada Dr. Zikri, draw live versus pre-drawn image. Which one is better? I would love draw live, but it depends on types of content that I want to deliver with my learner. Sometimes one content is very complicated to visualize. So that is a bit tricky and challenging from our side. So I would rather have that pre-recorded. But if we talk about something that is less complexity, in a way we can visualize. So draw live is much more engaging than, because it is always an element of surprise. The students keep predicting, okay, apa lecturer yang nak lukis kan. So those are the things that the element of surprise is in a way create participation and engagement. Or we can always ask the students, what do you think is the best image to represent this? If we have no idea. So they usually have a lot of responses. Lukis ni doktor. So we try. And then we laugh together if the drawing is very bad. So in a way it creates fun learning for me. So not just but making dry content become much more lively, I believe. So yeah, either ways are fine.
Yeah, I agree with you, Dr. Hawati, because bila kita lukis live, I think the students punya mind kan, the tendency is to follow what we are drawing, the line we are drawing kan. So mana in a way they will be engaged in that sense lah.
Yes. And they were like expecting, okay, apa doktor nak lukis ni, apa doktor nak lukis ni, okay. But I always get my drawings being laughed by my learners, so don't worry. So we laugh together. Ya doktor, walaupun handwriting buruk, sometimes demotivate. My handwriting is very bad as well. I just look at my handwriting and I think my handwriting is very bad. But as I draw live, I keep on thinking of I need to refine my handwriting so that students are able to understand. So one way is to use capital letter. So capital letter can somehow restrict us from write in a way that only we can understand. But of course, remember the fundamentals elements is now, capital letter may represent topics or may represent something that we want to highlight. If we were to have all capital letters, it will not be nice because it shows that everything is very important. So it get the students' mind like distracted on which elements to be highlighted or which key points for them to remember. So we have to be very careful in that sense. Okay, so thank you, Prof, and all doctors for the responses. So if I were to continue just now, I was about to show how to start using notes. So we can see that on your right, if you have your iPad with you, if you have opened your notes, look at your right side, beside the three dots, we can see the square with the pen. So tap that to begin with a new note. Okay, so this is what we call, I believe, I call it as a blank slate, a blank paper actually. So that's why the idea is, because we see slides, keynotes, it is very square, it is very structured, that we have a tendency to put words. But if notes, it is like a blank A4 paper, usually it is very difficult for us to begin with. And of course, to begin with, we used to start things in the middle, like brainstorming, mind mapping, and so on. But before doing that, okay, let me just show the features of notes. So you can see on top, if you were to tap, okay, this is the checklist feature. Okay, if you were to tap that, that is a checklist feature. Maybe if you want to, okay, before doing that, maybe you want to add in your title. So you just tap on title. Maybe before beginning the session, before starting the class, you can just type out the title, what is the topic of that particular lesson, and then you want to add in the date, up to you. And then after that, you can see on top on your right, beside the checklist, the tick feature, we can see camera. Camera is where we want, if we want to add documents, we can also scan documents using notes. If you want to take photo or video, or you want to make a ready available photo or notes in your gallery to be inserted in the notes. Okay, so you can choose. Like for example, let's say if I take one, choose photo, we can make use of any photos. Okay, a lot of drawings in my iPad. All right, and apart from that, if you were to look at the third feature, okay, so this is the tools that we need. These are the tools that we need when we want to make, we want to draw, or we want to sketch in our notes. So from the bottom, okay, the three dots is for us to actually set however we like our tools. Okay, the arrangement. And then we have colors, option of colors. These are the basic colors here. However, we can tap on this part to choose colors from options already available in the tools. We do have rulers as well. If we are not confident with our lines, so you need to use both of your fingers to control the ruler. So you need to tap both of your fingers and move the rulers as it is. Okay, so if we need to have like 90 degree, you can see the 90 degree, it shows 90 degree, it shows that the line is straight. So you can try, use the line. Oh, sorry. Okay, let me just, okay, a straight line. So if you were to change, this is actually good for also architecture. Yeah, if you need to draw lines, so you can just, it helps you to have straight lines using the ruler. Okay, so if you don't want to use the ruler, just tap the ruler back, it will get inside the tools. If you want to reuse, tap again and it will come out. Okay, keep it there. All right, this is what we call lasso. Yeah, lasso. If you want to select a few area, so we can use lasso. This is eraser. If you want to erase, so you can just use the eraser to erase whatever we have done. Okay, and this is also a pencil, highlighter. This is the pen, the most common one that we use. And we have A. A means if we write something, it will change it into words straight away. For example, yeah. So if we were to use this feature, it will change it to the type version of words. Learning with mobile. So it will be like that if we were to use this feature, this one. Oh, sorry. This pen. But if you don't have, if we don't want to have that, mind my speech. Use pen and we'll just write as it is. Okay, and then we can change colors if we want to have arrows. Change again to words. And if you want to just draw, you can draw. Okay, so those are the things that can be used, the features or the tools that we have in Notes. And here is the undo, okay, undo button. And then we have what else? Okay, if we were to tap on this, we can change the thickness of our pen. Either we want it to have a thinner version or we want to have a thicker version, so we can change. So I usually use the second one because if it is this one, it is too thin. So it depends on how you want to have your notes. So not so much difference. And then if you were to change, we can use lasso. Okay. All right. So we can drag this using lasso. Let's say we have drawn this again. Okay. Let me just right. Okay. So let's say we have drawn something and then we are not happy where we have located it and we want to rearrange. We can use the lasso pen. Okay, this one. This is what we call lasso pen for us to select certain objects or images where we just select like this. Okay, once it is active, we can just move around. Let's say it is supposed to be here. So it's much easier. So we don't have to actually erase and redraw. So there are a few functions of these tools. Okay. And then we have the three buttons here. Okay, this is where we can scan again, scan documents. If we have books, scan a document and it will be inserted straight away automatically in the notes. We can pin. Remember when I mentioned just now, if you think your that file is very important, it's easier for you to find, so you can pin. Lock is when you think that certain things are very confidential, you are afraid that people may open and read, so you can use the lock feature. where it is only available for you. Only you can open if you were to lock your document, and if you want the whole document to be deleted, you can press delete. And what good about notes is that you can share your notes. You can send a copy to your friend. A copy is in a form of PDF or image. They can also be done. And if you want to move your notes to a different folder, or okay, this part is I like this. I like the fact that if we are not confident with blank page, okay, we can actually make use of this line and grids. Okay, so you can choose either lines, full lines, or bigger lines, or you want to have like boxes, grids, or bigger grids, or even a bigger grids. Okay, like for example, if I were to tap on this one, this grid, so we can have grids to guide us, especially those who are afraid that your handwriting is bad, or perhaps you are not very good at lines, drawing lines. So this in a way help us to be more structured lah in that sense. Sebab ada garisan-garisan ke, so it's confident. Like for example, you want to write, it is more confident in a form of lines and as well as grids. So it is more structured and organized in a way. When we convert, don't worry, the lines will not be visible. It will not be there when we convert. Okay, so this is example of features that are available in Notes. Perhaps any questions so far? Okay, if there is no question, maybe we can open up one notes and do together. I hope if you have your notes with you, if not, it's okay. Okay, like for example, another example that I have here is to lecture on how to write storyboarding with my students. So of course, everything is drawn live, okay, but as you can see here, some of the boxes are in a form of box, exact shape. Some are very human in the way it is drawn. Human, there's no straight lines and everything. But how that can be done, let's just open another new one. Okay, what is good about notes is that if you want to draw shapes and certain shapes, it can be auto-detected. Okay, like for example, if you were to draw square, so you can just draw and tap a bit longer and the shape will change in a fixed shape automatically. If you were to draw circle, don't worry. So you just draw and then leave the tap longer and it will change. Okay, I repeat, this is a square. You see my drawing is very bad. Okay, so it will change. So you don't have to worry. Let's say you want to draw a circle again. It's okay, just draw. So it will automatically detect the drawing. And then we have triangle can also be detected. Triangle can also be detected. Okay, and I believe another one is oval. See, my oval is very bad. Let me check. Let me redraw. See? So it can be detected as well. Right, so you don't have to worry. Okay, and I think another one is straight lines. Okay, and arrows. Right. Okay. So you don't have to. You just need to tap a bit longer, and then Note will automatically recognize the object and shapes. So there are not all objects can be recognized. There are a few: square, triangle, circle, oval, straight lines, bend curve. Another one is love. Love can also be detected. Right. So you can give it a try using your iPad if you have. Are you trying?
Yes.
Okay, Prof. Can you do it, Prof? You just need to leave the tab longer so it will automatically recognize a few shapes. Okay, let's say if we were to have a notes on, maybe if you haven't, let's do this together. Okay, online learning. Okay, so you want to play around with the colors. Okay, let's say draw a computer, a laptop here. Yeah, my drawing also very bad. Not that good, but as long as we can see the image is understandable. It is a laptop, right? And then a mouse, of course. Okay, we have online learning. So let's say we want to draw a circle or what do you call a bubble, yeah? The frame we call. So just draw straight like this and tap for a while. So it will change. If you don't want to have the auto recognition, it's okay, but don't tap longer. Yeah, okay, I repeat. If you want to leave it like that, okay, let's say you just want it to be messy as like that, fine. Don't tap longer. If you want it to be like having the notes apps to detect the shape you are drawing, so you have to tap longer, complete shape and tap longer. So it will be like that. Okay, and then we have one arrow here. Right? So we have one, maybe here, two, here. Sorry. Here we want the curve. Yeah. And then as we are teaching, we may brainstorm with our learners. What are the types of online learning do you know? So they may talk about perhaps synchronous. So we can also check, okay, everybody, what are the types of online learning? So one of them mentioned, all right, synchronous. So we can, right? Synchronous. So one way of online learning is synchronous. What is synchronous? So you may have the definition or you may change the color. Maybe a bit of swirl. Okay, so 1, 2. Okay, and then the next one, it is as if like the students are actually taking notes whatever when listening to your lecture, but instead of doing that, you are now having your students together with your students to brainstorm what are the things that they know in relation to whatever content that we are delivering. So in a way, after this class is over, for example, you can actually share this with your students and become the notes. Or if you want to keep it, as I mentioned just now, keep everything at the end of the semester, compile in a form of book, and voila, you have a visual module of your own course. How interesting is that? Okay. All right. Even if you are good at drawing, that is even bonus, yeah, for you if you're good at drawing. Okay, so these are the things that we can use in notes. And I would like to also highlight, all right. Okay, in notes, okay, we have done this at sketches. Okay, this is example of sketches that I have. All right, I have, maybe I should also show how highlight is used. Okay, so if we were to use highlights, don't worry, if your tools is nowhere to be found, you just tap on this one. You just tap on this and the tools will come out. So we have highlighter here. So we can also make use of the highlighter. Let's say you want to remain as yellow color, so you can just highlight. Okay, if you want it to be thinner, so you just highlight. Remember the elements of, the fundamental elements of note taking just now is shadow. So you can also make use of highlights to create shadow. So here, nearby to the notebook, create a little bit of shadow, okay, to give it a more lively feature to your laptop. don't worry about being wrong. Note taking, drawing or sketching, there is no way for us to be wrong, because at the end of the day, it is our own imagination. So don't worry about being right or wrong. At the end of the day, you will appreciate whatever you have. All right. So this is the use of highlight, and you can make use of the highlights. And bear in mind, there is no color for notes. Let's say if you want your object or image to be colored, there is no color feature. You cannot color, but we can make use of the highlight feature. Like for example, let's say you want to color the screen of the laptop, so you can make use of the highlight feature and change the color to perhaps gray. So we can just highlight. So that is the only way for us to color our image in Notes, because we don't have color feature. Like as compared to Keynote, we have color feature, but not in Notes. Okay, so we can, but we can make use of the highlight feature for us to color our object. So that is one thing. All right, so if I may continue. Okay, this is one example that I have done with my learners on learning styles. This is actually being used when I teach them learning styles. I ask them, yes, as I mentioned just now, I do put into category to begin with, like for example, physical, social, solitary, logical, visual, oral, and verbal. But in the class, we as I am explaining to them, I draw basic drawing, and I also put sort of explanation to it. So at the end of the day, I would say my class, I don't have a lot of wordy slides, but they have a lot of images for them to keep as they are reading materials. But of course, as they are listening to us, they do take notes and try to understand and make sense, make connections to whatever they have listened. Remember, being able to connect things is now, and in the end, understand the big ideas or the big pictures of whatever they are learning. Okay, so I have mentioned on handwriting and recognized objects now. Remember, there are 5 or 6 shapes or objects that are recognized in notes. If you were to draw square, it can be recognized. If you were to draw a rectangle, if you were to draw circle, as well as oval and love, as well as straight lines, arrows. One more is, if I'm not mistaken, I think we can have triangle. Let me just try. Sometimes they keep updated from time to time after having responses from users. I think they have upgraded the triangle. Let me just check. Yes. And now triangle is also recognized in notes. So there are 8 objects being recognized: square, rectangle, triangle, love, circle, oval, straight lines, as well as curve line, for the arrows and so on. So these are the objects that can be recognized, okay, in notes. So it's much easier if we think that it's so difficult for us to draw shapes because our hands is like shaky and so on. Remember, use the ruler. You can use the ruler and also the grid lines. Yeah, like for example, let's say if you were to have the grids, if you are not sure about drawing lines, now we have grids. Okay, so you can also use the ruler. Okay, now the ruler, or if you can just use this line, and it will also recognize, oh sorry, I need to change my pen. Okay, right, so we can just draw. Okay, and then okay, let's say you want to draw a big square with the grid line, so you can just keep turning. Okay, and then you can also draw this line. Oops, sorry. Use both of your fingers here to move the ruler. Okay. So we can also draw another line here. Maybe if we were to talk about designing things, yeah. Oops, what happened? I click undo. So you can make use of the ruler as well. If you talk about your content is perhaps architecture, you want to show how drawing is done in the form of buildings and so on. So there are many things to explore in notes together with your learners. It will be great, as I mentioned just now, it will be great if the students are also with iPad so we can collaborate. Unfortunately, yes, iPad is not a device that is affordable for everybody, but as Apple, for us, Apple educators, we try to make students realize and are aware that iPad is something they can leverage with, and that's why in UKM we have our first Switch shop branch, whereby students are no iPad are sold to students, as well as students are open for training. They can come for training at the Switch Center. We do have our trainer and facilitators available from, I think it is open from 10 to 5, not sure, but open daily except Sunday. So students can come in and they can request for a quick workshop. It is open for free, and after that, if they were to buy, it is also available for students to buy iPad in the Switch Center at the UKM. We have that in PTSL. Perhaps if you want to come over later, if there is no PKP, come over to our PTSL. And if you want to visit our Switch Center at not at the faculty, but not at our main library. Oh dear, PTSL. Alright, yes Prof. Dulu ada Switch tapi dah tutup. Yeah, yep. In a way, our Switch Center, we do also workshops, a quick, we call it bite-sized training for students or even lecturers. If they have like 5 of them coming together and they want to have like a very quick training on certain area, like for example, how to use Keynote. So we have tables for the lecturers and the students to sit down, and we have trainers standby ready available just to tell them how to go about having doing things with Keynote and so on. So that's how it is the new nafas lah, I mean given to Switch branch in UKM. F-Pen bagi lecturers, ya betul Prof. Di Fakulti Pendidikan, each one of us is given with iPad. There are 90 of us, all 90 of us are given with iPad, one each. It's just the iPad lah, pencil we have to buy on our own. But the iPad itself is great enough. We were given with iPad Pro. Alhamdulillah, Prof. Alhamdulillah. Thank you so much to our Dean as well as the whole faculty for the income generation. So we could afford, at least we have something that is for us to leverage rather than from any other materials. Yep, Prof. Dato' Noraza is the best, always. Okay, so let us continue. All right, so now in the form of project presentation, so we can also use notes to jot down quick thoughts or organize detailed information. As I mentioned just now, we have checklists, images, web links, scanned documents, handwritten notes and sketches. So if we want to discuss with our students on something related to a project, so let me just open. Remember the one I showed just now with this project? Okay, maybe I can show here again. So here is the topic written and how to insert images. For example, this is an image inserted. So we can just tap on this button. Okay, and then choose a photo and we can, sorry. Oops, okay, wait, oops. My hand is too sensitive. Okay, maybe we want to add an object. Just press this one. This is just an example, yeah. Okay, so let's say if we want to add another image on the note, so we can just select this feature, tap on this feature and choose photo or video, choose a photo and just add. So it will go into our notes and we can discuss with our students and our learners. If we don't want to draw, for example, we have something that is ready available and we can actually draw on this. Okay, let me repeat. Let's say we don't want to draw from scratch, from zero. We have something that is ready available and then we want to, what do you call, annotate. And annotate on this image. You can just tap your pencil, tap up until you can see the tools coming out and then you can make use of this tool and now start scribbles on your, or annotate on your image. Collect data, how to analyze. Can anyone tell me how to analyze data, perhaps? Can anyone tell me how to collect data? So you can ask your questions. How can we define, you can ask your students, how can we define problem? Can anyone tell me how to define problems? What are the things that we need to define problem? So we can also scribble or annotate on a ready available image rather than coming out with our own. So this is another way of having note-taking, visual note-taking for our teaching and learning. Okay, all right. And then if we were to add, of course, at the end of the day, we want things to be a bit structured. So let's say if we want to add headings, subheadings, we can make use of this feature on the keyboard. Okay, so as you can see here, on your, on your right side, the A, capital A and the small letter A. If you were to tap on that, you can see a few functions, the format of our content. You can decide whether it is a title, you can decide whether it is a heading or subheading, a body or monospace. Up to us how we want to arrange our content. Okay, and then if we want to put in bullets, okay, so we can have bullets numbered 1, 2, 3, and then if we want to have like whether it is justified on the left or on the right, so you can set as well. And if we were to have table, for example, we want to have table inserted as we are teaching. Okay, now we want them to give some examples rather than we we get out from notes and go to, if we were to use slide, for example, we can also add in tables, however, but notes also can add or insert tables, so we don't have to worry. We can add in tables, so you can see tables here, okay, columns, just tap, okay, so we have tables inserted in our notes, right? So let's say we want to have more. Okay, if we want to add columns, just tap on the three dots, yeah? We can see three dots on top. The three dots on top. Tap on the three dots so you can see either add column or delete column. Let's say if we want to have add column, so we have column A, B, and C. Okay, let's say we are not happy. We want to change this to, we want to rearrange. So it's very easy. Just tap longer until you can see it's moving, so you can just move around. So you don't have to delete and then you don't have to redo, just move around if you are not happy with the arrangement. If you were to add more, just add more, add column, and then let's say if you're still not happy, you can move around. So it is very easy to handle actually, and it is quite flexible in that sense. But sometimes if we were to use tables in other apps, we need to delete the column and so on. But for notes, we can just move around as it is. Okay, so those are the things that we can add in as our lecture. If perhaps a combination of note-taking, a combination of brainstorming, a combination of checklists as well. Okay, how to do checklists? Let's say as we are explaining to our learners, we ask them, what are the steps in instructional design? Can anyone tell me? So put in a checklist. Remember this feature? This checklist feature? Okay. So when students inform, the first step is analysis. Okay. The second step is design. Next, develop. Next, implement. Next, evaluate. Oh, sorry. So as we are explaining to our learners, perhaps we may come into question, to which checklist do you think this process belongs to? So maybe they will say, okay, doctor, that is under analysis phase. All right, so tick on analysis phase. How about these particular steps? To which stage do you think this process belongs to? So the students may say implement. All right, so that is implement. How about design and develop? Can anyone explain? So you can make play around, make use of the checklist as your teaching and learning content structure. So in a way, we can make use of all these features for teaching and learning. All right, and if we were to, as we are teaching, let's say we want to add in one particular website. Okay, so what's good about iPad is that we can work in split screen. Okay, let's say if you were to have split screen, you need to take out your how do I say this, slide bottom to up from your iPad. Please try out if you have it. Sometimes it doesn't work for the new users, it doesn't work, but for those who are very familiar with iPad, you know, if you were to have your apps coming out, the features, you need to slide up like this, up until the bottom, the bottom part. Here, you see the bottom part. If I were to slide out, okay, slide up, so you can see it coming out. So let's say we want to have students, to show students to which website to refer. So tap it a bit longer, yeah. Sometimes the finger is too sensitive, like this. So now you have okay, let's say, all right, let's say we have website on ADDIE. Okay, AD model and instructional design. For example, can anyone try? Can you have your split screen, or you need me to repeat one more time?
Boleh repeat kot ada yang
Please
miss.
repeat. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to repeat again how to have split screen. So this is your note screen, your interface. So when you want to do split screen, you need to slide up. Use your one finger, slide up from bottom to up until you can see this feature. Look at the bottom part. Pay attention to the bottom part. In a while, I'm going to repeat. Slide up and you can see your... Okay, one thing is that before doing that, if you don't see Safari in the list, you need to close everything and open up Safari first, because that is the most frequent apps that you have opened. The one at the bottom shows that those are the most frequent apps that you have been using recently. So if the Safari is not in the box, you need to just close everything and try to open Safari one more time and close again. It will be in the bottom part later, after you have closed down your Safari. Okay, so again, I'm going to open my note. All right, so this is the note. Slide up a bit, okay, up until you see all recent applications box coming out. Okay, and then tap on. Let's say now we want to show students, okay, let us just compare this process with the one in this reading website, in these materials or articles written in one website. So you need to tap like a few seconds up until you see, no, not this one, yeah. Okay, I do sometimes have this issue. Okay, just tap and drag. So you have this now with both screens side by side. Okay, Dr. Paitni. Got it? Yeah, great. All right. So now you have your screen side by side, one notes, one website. So as we are telling students, as we are discussing with our learners, we can actually ask them to refer to the explanation on the right side. How do you compare this explanation with the one we are discussing now? What are the key points that you can see in the website that can be embedded in our notes today, in whatever we are discussing now? So you can have that kind of discussion with your learners using notes. Actually, for iPad, you can work side by side in most of the apps. Even Keynote, if you were to open Keynote, we can also work side by side with website, with other tools. So we have two screens working together at one time. Okay, and then if we were to add to whatever we are doing, let's say we want to say, right, additional materials to read, for example, because bear in mind, perhaps later we are going to share this with them. So let's just put it straight away, because we are human. At the end of the day, we have forgotten what we informed the students to do. So let's just do it straight away. Let's say you want students to read this, so you can just tap this, yeah. You just tap and drag to the other side. Shall I repeat that? Do you want me to repeat? Okay, let's say I delete one more time. Okay, let's say, all right, got it, no need. All right, so again, so I got it then. So you just drag and you have it in your notes. Okay, if you want to have more, you can have more. If not, so you just, if you want to close this, you can see this small line. Just push that small line aside, and it will get back to one screen. Okay, Dr. Hanizun, which part to repeat? The one inserting the website, is it? Yeah, okay. So let's say you have this website, and as we are discussing with our learners, we believe that this material is very important for them to read more. Once we have finished the class, okay, I need you to read more on this. Okay, we want them to read, so therefore, okay, how to drag the website? Go to the website address here on top. Just tap it longer up until it pop up like that, and pop up and just drag. Yes, we document in a way. One is note, one is website. So it is as long as it is two different application, so you can open side by side. Two Word documents side by side, yeah. Let's say it is pages. Okay, let's give it a try. Don't worry. Let's say it is pages. It is a document side by side. Oh, sorry. This is a story I'm working on, Prof. Sorry, okay. Alright.
Nak publish ke tu?
Ya?
Nak publish ebook ke tu?
Yang ni tak tengah buat content untuk creative writing.
Oh, I see.
Just one example, but going to publish one, but this is the one that is actually owned. The story is owned by an author. So yet to have my own story, but inshallah looking forward to. Okay, let's say if we were to have one. Yep. Let's say one, open one. Okay. And then we open another one. Is it possible? Yes, we can open two documents. This is if we were to talk about documents. So we can open two documents side by side, working on one document and then the other document on the other side. Same application. The one that I'm opening now is pages. Pages is actually the same as words. If we are familiar with words, then For iPad, it is called Pages. So we can work side by side. So this is Pages. Now go back to our notes just now. Okay, for notes, therefore, we can also work side by side. Yeah. Okay, so we can actually add more. If we were to have more edit, let's say we want students to read more, find more, and then copy, and then just drag. As simple as that. Okay, so and another way, if we want to, let's say it is like a very quick thinking process, so we can make use of this feature. Okay, apart from us looking from the website just now, another way of searching for information, if as we are discussing with our learners, we want to search for information. For example, on AD model, so the word AD, we just tap on this word. As you can see, the word lookup. Okay, this one. So as long as we are connected to the internet, so the notes itself will scrutinize information on the website and try to bring in suggested website for us to go through. So in a way, as we are teaching with our learners, let's say we want things to be quick as a reference. All right, people, rather than we open up the website just now and search, and then we have to check one by one, we can also get notes to find suggested website for us to make use in our learning content. Maybe I can repeat, like for example, the word eddy, just highlight the word. Highlighting is by double tapping. If you double tap, it will be highlighted. Double tap, okay, and you can see these features on top coming out. Just use this one, look up. These look up features. Okay, if you were to tap on look up features, so there'll be more websites coming in. So you can tap one, open up, and then you can also share with your students. All right. So that is one feature that I believe should be leveraged and utilized as we are teaching our learners. Okay. I hope I'm not going too fast. Is it okay so far? All right, let me just open up my, okay. So we have added checklist, okay, which is the bullet, the one with the bullet, and if we have done that, we can just take. Okay, we can have that during our note taking as well. Like for example, if we were to talk about phases, we have analysis, design, develop, implement, and evaluate. And in fact, if we were to have like a checklist which is going to be used for few lessons, let's say today we will talk about analysis. So as you are teaching your learners, you can just tick on the analysis part, and then we can inform students, okay, next week we will look into design and develop. So as we go for the next week's lesson, once we have finished with design and develop, we can again take the design and develop part to show the students that, okay, we have done analysis, and now design and develop, and next week we will go into implement and evaluate. So that's what I like about using checklists in teaching and learning, using notes apps. Add or edit table, I have touched that. Like for example here, sometimes Prof, I will have to prepare this in case you know, some technical issues, sometimes it's difficult for us to share our notes and so on. And what I like about, okay, these are example of sketches, equilibrium. This is actually done by Dr. Jufrizal from UTEM. Dr. Jufrizal is also part of our Apple Learning community. So he once shared with us that he had issue of teaching this technical subject, which is equilibrium. Mind my pronunciation. I am not from engineering background. So I think he said it's very difficult for him to teach this subject. So to make students understand on the meaning of static. So he came up with these notes, and even though it's a bit wordy in a way, but it is more comprehensible in the sense that students are able to see the big pictures of what equilibrium is, rather than just giving notes, giving words, and so on. Okay, this is another example, the one that I've shown just now, which is the storyboard. We have done that. Okay, in a small group of students, we sit down. So I use notes with my students to discuss on how can we design things. So I use notes a lot, especially in terms of storyboarding, how to come up with storyboard. Okay, and I think I have shown at images just now, images and videos. Sure, Prof. We can have a break at 10:50 for a while. Great. Before coming into how to teach using Notability after this, maybe I can finish a little bit more. And add images and videos. Oh, sorry. Okay, so this is also another way of how we put in things in our notes as we are teaching our learners, instead of using slides and put a lot of words. Okay. I've touched on the split screen just now, side by side, working side by side, two documents side by side for our teaching content. And another good things about notes is that we can also discuss with our students as we are showing video. I'm so sorry, I have done this before. I could not demonstrate the video part, the split screen with the video live synchronously. We have tried before. However, I have recorded so that you can see how it is done. Because before this, we have done this, and it turned out that every time we share side by side with YouTube, we will be kicked out from the meeting room. So I have prepared the what do you call, video on how to show this. I hope you can hear the sounds. Oh. Oh yeah, I did not maximize for video just now.
Bang, tak dengar audio ya?
Maybe
Okay.
because I did not set as maximize for video.
Oh,
But actually this video is about characteristic of Gen Z. So as we are asking our students to listen to the video, we can also do note taking at the same time. So it is like split side by side. One is notes, another one is YouTube, Prof. In Notes, is it possible to pinch and zoom in and out the page? Yes, we can zoom in and out the page. Maybe I can show after this. So this is one example of split screen. Apart from document and document, or document and website, we can also have document and YouTube side by side. So, yeah.
meaning that if I'm watching a video on YouTube, on the iPad, of course, I can have a split screen with notes on the side.
Yes.
Then while I'm watching the video, I can take the notes straight away in notes.
Yes, Prof. It works both way. One is for us to actually listen to video and take notes. Another one is a different approach in our teaching and learning. We ask students to actually look at the video, and we can also pause and ask students, what are the things that you have heard just now? So we can take note together using note taking and brainstorm on whatever being mentioned in the video.
I think good idea.
That is another approach. Apart from us talking, we can ask the students to watch the video and we brainstorm together what are the things that being mentioned in the video. How does that sound, Prof?
Great.
Okay, so I can see one question. Maybe before we have a break, one question from Dr. Paitni. When I mirror my iPad to MacBook, I cannot use my Apple Pencil. What apps do you use to mirror your iPad? Is it I think if it is we have tried before with this one app. Can't remember what app is this. Only that can be used. What app do you use, Doctor? I mean, what software do you use for you to mirror your iPad to MacBook? Let me check.
Well, we can mirror directly using the QuickTime, right?
But by right, it should be able to be used, the pencil so far. Maybe you can switch off your iPad, switch on again. Sometimes it works that way. I need to switch off and then on again and try to connect your pencil again and make use. Webex boleh guna kabel, yes. Webex boleh guna kabel. I like what I'm doing now. I'm using two devices. One is for me to work with the Webex to speak to the audience. Another one that I get connected is my iPad. So what I'm sharing now is on my iPad, but I'm talking to the MacBook. I'm using the MacBook for me to see everything. So
And you mirror the iPad to your Mac.
no, I actually I did not mirror my iPad because there are things that when we mirror, like for example, video is very difficult for us to handle. And sometimes they are, because we have done this few times, there are apps that when we mirror, will easily being kicked out from the room. So the safest way is to have two devices, Prof. I mean, just enter using two devices. So that is the safest way as for now. Or else it will be, sometimes it get hangs as well. What is the best app that we can use to record the process? Great. Talking about recording, let's say just now, if we don't want to have our teaching and learning content draw live during our teaching and learning process, we can actually have a pre-recorded version of our learning content using notes. One thing good about iPad is that it is there ready available recording apps that we can use. So we don't need any other software. So if you were to look at your iPad, maybe I can show this before we have a break. Yeah.
The control room, right?
Yes. So make sure we need to turn on in the control room. Okay, control center.
Control center.
Control center. Make sure we have this screen recording included controls. If
I think many people tak tahu kot, eh?
yeah, sometimes they thought that they don't have it, but actually we need to take it up, bring it to the control included control, then we can use. Because if you don't have it here, actually it is somewhere here.
Yeah.
Yes, so you just need to tap on the plus sign, so it will be added to the included controls. So with that, you have your screen recording feature available in your iPad. It is there actually, it's just you need to add in your control center.
Yeah, previously, before we have this feature in iPad Pro, we have to use a different app to record the screen. It's not straightforward, but this one directly.
Directly, yes, which is much easier.
Yes.
And how can you retrieve that in your iPad? Is that by swiping from, just now is from bottom to up, right? Now it's from up to on your right, on your right side. Okay, swipe down up until you see this. Okay, if you were to see this, up until you see this, and then okay, oh sorry. Okay, sorry, that's why I terkeluar. Every time you want to show something that involve recording, terkeluar. Sorry, Prof. Okay, I'm going to get in again.
So you are sharing your iPad screen directly from the iPad, eh? Maknanya you masuk Webex dalam iPad, then you masuk Webex juga in another, maybe in your laptop, macam tu ya?
Betul, Prof. I think that is much, that is the safest way so far.
Yeah.
We have tried a few, but so
I
far
think it's important for our participant here to understand the setup in case in the future they want to use, they want to be on the other side as a speaker, joining the Webex as well as showing something on the iPad. And
yes.
so basically, you have your laptop, you connect to Webex.
Yes.
Then you are actually speaking through the webcam on your laptop.
Yes, yes, Prof.
Then,
Speaking through and webcam on laptop.
yeah, then you also enter the WebEx on your iPad.
Yes,
Then you share the screen directly from there.
yes. However, please remember that iPad, the most minimum volume is still hearable. So we need to use earphone plugged into the iPad. So or else it will be echo.
Oh,
Yes, those are the tips and tricks lah, Prof.
yeah.
uh,
Okay, great.
so use the what do you call earphone, plug in to your iPad, so it will reduce the sounds. I think there's no echo so far, right?
Okay, good.
Yes, because iPad, even the minimum volume is still hearable. It cannot be shut down straight away. It cannot be silent 100%. Even the lowest volume is still hearable.
Then
So
you
there
have
will be a
echo
lot
lah.
of echo. Yes,
Then
yes,
you get echo.
yes. So one trick is using earphone plug in, then there will be no echo.
Oh, okay. I think that's good tips there.
Yeah, sometimes we want to use and then we get panic. There are echoes and then
Mana datang echo ni? Mana datang echo ni?
kita panic kan.
Yeah.
The first few times tu memang panic lah, Prof, sebab kita tak tahu how to solve issues, how to troubleshoot.
Yeah.
But as we are doing it a lot, so now we have realized things to be considered.
Yeah.
Yes, so
That's
those are
how-
the tips and tricks.
That's how things like we learn, always learn new things, kan?
Yes, Prof, agree. So perhaps I stop for a while for a break,
Okay.
Prof.
So kita break for 10 minutes. So let's come back 5 minutes after 11. 11:05, yeah? 11:05. All
Boleh.
right. See you
Thank you.
later.
See you. Okay, hello, hi. Is everyone back in?
Yeah, I think everyone back in.
Okay.
Ada satu soalan tu, Dr. Awati.
Daripada Dr. Johnny, how
Yeah.
can you share the technique to pinch and zoom in and out in notes? Okay, in notes actually we cannot pinch to zoom in and out, but only in notability we can zoom in and out, but not in notes. Yes, yeah, we cannot pinch in and out. Okay, let's see if we have one photo. Okay, this one we can pinch, but for the note itself we cannot pinch. Like for example, let's say we want to annotate or we want to scribble on an image. Okay, like for example, this is an image. If we were to tap on the image, this one we can zoom in and out. How to zoom in and out? Oh, sorry, I did not start my video. Okay, how to zoom in and out? Just use both of your fingers. Use two fingers. Okay, just move your fingers in and out like this. But for image only. For the note itself, it cannot be zoomed in and out. For notes. For notability, yes. But not for notes. Yep. Yep. You cannot zoom in and out for the notes, except for the image. Okay, just tap on the image and then zoom in and out like this. All right. All right, Doctor, great. Got it. Okay. Maybe before we proceed, is there any other questions or feedback or response that the participant would like to share on the notes itself?
Yang yang Dr. Norizan pun tadi dia jawab kan, what the best app to record tu kita boleh gunakan recording feature dalam iPad ya.
Betul. We can use recording feature in iPad, which is very easy to use. Tadi rasanya macam tak tunjuk habis rasanya sekejap. Sebab tadi masa nak tunjuk terkeluar.
Oh ya.
So, okay. Just swipe down on right corner. Once we have our recording in the control center, swipe down and we can see this one, this blinking. This one means it is recorded. I think it is recorded in WebEx, so therefore it's blinking. We cannot record when we are on live situation. So therefore, but however, when you want to record, you just need to add this button. Use this feature. Okay, and if you were to, there are two ways of recording. One is just the screen, another one is with your voice. Tap a bit longer on this button, you will see the microphone. If you need to have narration as you are recording, you need to make sure the microphone is on. If just the screen, then it's okay, because normally if we were to open, it is just recording the screen. Just in case nanti tak check pula cakap for 15 minutes, rupanya record the screen saja without the narration. So be careful, make sure the microphone is on. Unfortunately, I am not able to show here because Webex is recording. But if you are not sure, you can go to my YouTube. I think I have shared one how to do screen recording on iPad. So it's on my YouTube. You can just search Harwati Hashim on YouTube. I have one video showing how to screen record on iPad. So I think it's a bit clear on how to go about doing the screen recording using iPad. Okay, and how many minutes is no limitation to how many minutes. If we were to use tools like Screencast-O-Matic, yes, we can install Screencast-O-Matic on iPad, but if it is a free version, it is only up to 15 minutes, or else we will need to pay on to have a longer video to be recorded. Okay. Hello. Prof, are you there?
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
My iPad is jammed. Let me just
Dia
go Webex.
freeze.
Yeah. I need to join meeting again.
Okay.
Alright. Okay. Thank God. Okay, so now I would like to continue on teaching with notability apps. I think you will be agree with me. By just using notes, you can fully make full of the features that are available in notes for you to come up with visual note taking for teaching and learning, or even for pre-recorded version of your teaching content. But however, I would like to also show another apps or tools that can be used for note taking, which actually is more it's greater than notes, and I believe there are more features given in Notability if we are able to fully utilize all features in Notability itself. So just a little bit on Notability, because I know it is a paid or licensed software or tools. But just to inform everybody, if you were to have it, buy it now because the price is 1960. What was the price when you bought it, Prof?
Some time ago, tak ingat lah.
I think last time dia started with 69.90 macam tu. Lepas tu when I bought it, it was also on sale. It was 39.90. And now it's even cheaper. It's 16.90. And it is a lifetime license. You just need to buy once and it's a lifetime license. So you can fully utilize whatever features available in Note. So yep, just purchase Dr. Fight Me. Yes, 16.90 is 399 USD. I converted it 16.90. It's very cheap now. Go and have it. Even if you are not sure whether you want to use it or not. But to be honest, if you were to check thesis for your students, it's good for you to use Notability. If you were to check thesis, especially when it comes to this the COVID-19 pandemic, with this hurdle, students to come over and so on. When students submit the soft copy of their thesis, we can just scribble as if it is the hard copy of the thesis. The feeling is the same. Okay, so a quick tour on Notability app. Let me just open Notability app. Okay. So this is quite new to me as well, but I would like to share also some of the things that I like about Notability. If you want to open Notability, these are the features. We have on the left side, this is the dashboard in a way. So we have all files on the left side, as well as whatever notes that we have on the right side. And as I mentioned just now, apart from just creating note taking for teaching and learning, all other soft copies or forms or theses can also be examined using Notability as compared to notes, because notes we cannot retrieve files sent to us. But for Notability, we can retrieve any PDF file or whatever file sent to us, and we can just annotate using Notability. So that's what I like about Notability. Okay, so these are all files. Okay, and if you were to see on the right side, top right, we have the search function. If you have like too many notes later, you have the search function to allocate your file. And then we have this, if you want to have all these saved in our Google Drive, OneDrive, or Dropbox, that can also be done. But as long as it is connected, make sure that everything is connected to your iCloud. So whenever you open using a different device, you can always retrieve whatever you are having in your, like for example in iPad. If in case anything happen, if you were to buy a new iPad, you can still retrieve because it is in the iCloud. Okay, and on the other side is the new document, how to create new document. This is, if you were to tap this, it will take us to new document, new file, new note taking feature, or blank sheet for blank page. Okay, and if we were to tap on that, so we can see all features on top. I believe it is a very user friendly, again, as compared to notes, both are user friendly, and Notability is another user friendly app. And Notability, we can zoom in and out. We can pinch in and out, uh, zoom out, zoom in. Even you want to have like you want to go, you want to zoom a little bit more, we can do that with Notability, but not with notes. Okay, so on top we can see these features. One is text. If we were to tap on text, it will right. So it's either we scribble or we draw. We need to tap on whichever we want, but this is a very the one that we need to type out using keyboard or using the keypad feature. So you can type out your title if you need to choose that feature. Another one is the pencil itself. This one, the second one. If we were to tap on that, okay, we can actually change. Double tap one more time, and you can see all types of lines available from the thinnest to the thickest. Okay, so we can choose whether it is a dotted lines or straight lines. Okay, or for the colors, we can choose here. Let's say we don't want these colors, we can move around. Okay, there are a few colors, and we can also add on other colors that we wish to have in our most recent use of colors. Okay, and then the next feature we have highlights, because it is not taking, so therefore there's no colors actually for us to color our image, but we can make use of highlight. Okay, again highlight, if we were to double tap, maybe I can scribble something here. Title, what is, for example, graphic recording. Okay, so that is the handwriting part. And then we have highlighter. If we are not happy with the color, we can change color, perhaps to yellow, and then we can use. If we are not happy with the line, too thin, we can double tap again, tap and change here, maybe a thicker version. So we can just highlight using highlighter. And the other feature is the eraser, same as the notes just now. You can use the eraser to actually delete. If you are not happy, to erase. If you are not happy, you can just erase. Okay, whatever we have done. Alright. And then this is the lasso pencil. Same goes to the notes just now. It is in the form of pencil. It is called lasso. But in Notability, the lasso is in the form of this what you call scribble lines. Yeah. Lasso is for us to select certain parts of our drawing. Let's say, for example, if you want to select this, you just tap on this and select, okay, select graphic, convert to text, so we can convert. So yeah, but of course, if we want to convert, we have to pay. Okay, so we can select a few, and let's say if you want to cut it out, we can cut using lasso tools. That is for selection of certain parts of whatever we have done on our notes. And then we have this feature for us to show. Actually, it is a what do you call the highlighter for us to show in our teaching later. And then we have this feature as well. I don't normally use these two features because for me, it's quite rare for us to use, except for these first four features. And even the lasso itself I rarely use, because if I were to erase, I just erase. But if we were to use eraser, everything will be deleted. I mean, if you were to use eraser, you will erase together with this line. But if we were to use lasso, certain things only being selected and deleted. So yeah, sometimes it affected. So therefore, I just use three main things, which is pen, highlighter, and eraser. And the fact that we can also record voice in Notability as compared to notes. Notes also, we can also record voice in notes just now, okay, by using the keyboard. Okay, maybe I can just reverse back just to show everybody in case you are not interested in buying Notability. Sorry, I need to reverse back to notes. Okay, actually we can record voice by using this record button function here. So same goes Notability, but Notability it is available here on top. Okay, so So this is notability, and the plus sign is for us to add in, like for example, we want to insert photos, camera is for us to take live pictures. If we want to scan document, we can scan document, we can insert GIF, webs, stickies, all sort of thing in notability, which I believe has more features as compared to notes itself. All right. Okay. So we have options of paper, view, info, and help. Those are the things are very simple features. But bear in mind, notes. The disadvantage is that if we want to share our notes, it has to be in a form of image. For notability, we can change, we can save as PDF. So it can be shared in a form of PDF as well. So those are the two uh, 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 the main features that we need to understand between notes and notability. Notes can be kept as images, but notability can also be kept as PDF. Those are two important things that we need to bear in mind if we were to use notes. So only in the form of image, notability we can send in the form of PDF. All right. Those are notes. Okay, maybe I can show one on how to use notes. Just now I was trying to draw on. Yeah, yeah. I'm trying to show something on how to do note taking on what is graphic recording. So let's say you have this, you can pinch in and out in notes. Okay, right, graphic recording. So let's say if we were to have, I think if you have your iPad and you have your note purchase, okay, you can try to open up a new blank page and try to do together. Just do on the same topic, what is graphic recording, even though you are not from the graphic background. I think this is like a common topic for us. Okay, so what is graphic recording? Let's do this, yeah. Let's say, oh, I don't want to erase. Okay. Maybe it involves capturing. Okay, capturing. And maybe you can have number one. Remember the elements is now. Okay, number one is capturing. Bullets or number. Okay, you can have this. Maybe we can have next one, number two. Organizing. Okay, maybe we can have number three. Okay, designing. And so on. If we were to draw, for example, capturing means probably we can make use of image, perhaps a camera, for example. So make use of. Okay. Don't worry about being wrong. Okay, whether it looks like a camera or not. Okay. So make use of a different color. Okay, we can color our lens. Remember, as mentioned just now, in notes and notability, there's no color function. So we have to make do whatever color we have. We can color using highlight. Okay, highlighter. So color that. Let's say we want to put a little bit of text here. Sorry. Next line picture. Remember the shadow? A lot of things to remember. Okay. Shadow, a little bit of shadow. Okay, perhaps. Okay. Capturing. And maybe organizing, you can just draw filing just to represent being organized. So a lot of filing, and then you can color the file using a different color, perhaps blue. Okay, no, make it thicker. So you have to play around with the color and play around with the thickness of the highlighter. Okay, so you can still color and give a little bit of shadow to it. Okay. So in a way, some people would say, they don't have to be creative in that sense. I don't really restrict myself for not being creative when it comes to note taking, because in the end, we never know the end product. So to begin with is usually something that is quite blank in a way, and you may not be able to foresee where it goes. But wait until you finish everything. In the end, you will get the end product, okay, of what you are drawing. And do this together with your students. Okay, let's say this is number 1, number 2, number 3. Okay, maybe designing, you can draw, just push it. If you want to push, you just use a pinch, use both of your fingers and just move around. Okay, so maybe designing, you can draw something like this. Maybe, okay, we need one stickman. Let's see my stickman already. Okay, so you can just stick designing, stick papers to it. So this person is like planning something. Okay, color it, color the paper. Maybe you want to color the shirt of the man as well. Okay, this color. Don't worry, okay, this color. And then you can actually continue of doing it up until you finish with your content. Or maybe you can add in some elements of questions, like for example, okay, why use graphic? Okay, so okay, change the thickness, not still not thick. How to put this? Okay, maybe another stickman. Okay. Yeah, I'm not good at drawing as well. That's why I get myself laughed by my students. Okay. So the here, yeah, maybe the feet. This is stickman. So it represents an image, or as long as it is like a person or people. So it's fine. Just play around with it. Color, probably the shirt. Oops, too thick. Let's not color the shirt, let's color the style. Okay. Okay, probably, yeah, or not the shirt. That's why you need to have pencils. For iPhone, we can have notability and notes on iPhone, but basically those needs to be typed out. We cannot scribble, we cannot use pencil in a way. So those are to be typed out. So therefore, not so much things to explore if we were to have notes and notability on iPhone. It's best to use these two features using iPad. Yeah, I think maybe it's high time for everybody to reconsider of using iPad. I think you can leverage make use of iPad. Okay, maybe if you want to show the finishing line, you can have like, as I said just now, if we were to have drawing, we will have a lot of images in our head. Finish. Okay. Maybe a stickman here, another stickman running towards the finishing line. since we have. Okay, so we make use of stickman. That is the easiest for us to have our note taking using graphic with our learners. Okay, once we have done this, let's say we have done this, and once we have finished with our students, discussing, and then one one suggestion is, if we think that this can be improved, we can send this to the students, or we can start off somewhere and send to the students for them to complete, either using iPad, or if they don't have iPad, we can send in a form of PDF. Ask them to complete whatever note taking that we have in our class and add to the content. That is one way of how we want to have like post activity with our learners. Or if we have done with whatever graphic drawing, whatever content being delivered in our lesson, and if everyone is happy, nobody to add to it, we can share with our learners. Okay, by just tapping on, if you were to see this on the left side, okay, left side of your iPad, okay, tap on that. You can actually share this content with other people, with your students, with your learners, by using other apps. Yeah, use this one. Okay, and it is in a form of, if you can see here, it is in the format of PDF on top. Okay, it's in the form of PDF. So you can choose. If you want to change to image, you can change to image. If I think the easiest is PDF lah, because everybody should be able to open PDF, especially our students. So remain in the PDF format and then share. Sharing can be done in many ways. Like for example, if we have Telegrams group with our students, just send to their Telegram groups. If you want to email them, you can email. Even if we are having a class face to face, and the fact if sometimes students have iPhone as well, you can send via AirDrop, or you can send through email and so on. In fact, you can also add in your Google Classroom. So in that sense, sharing wise, Notability has more to offer as compared to notes, because for notes, if I were to open back the notes just now, we can only share in a form of, let's say this one. If we were to share, we can only send a copy in the form of save image. Okay, so that's about it between notes and Notability. So therefore, for Notability, you can send in many forms, especially in PDF, because we have to bear in mind that, like perhaps students are only they want to open up in their desktop or laptop. Even if compiling wise is much easier for Notability, because PDF wise we can compile and then end up become a module. For notes, we save as images, but still there are a few things we need to do technically before in the end compile everything to become one source of product or books, or probably modules or visual books for us to share with our students. So I think it's a very simple apps that can be used for teaching and learning. Prof. Orang Lidi. Saya orang Lidi ni sebenarnya, to be honest, I practice many times before I can really draw orang Lidi. Because even drawing orang Lidi, the history was, I myself, I'm not good at drawing. So even with the orang Lidi, it took me sometimes for me to be confident of drawing orang Lidi. So don't worry, the rest of the participant, everyone, all of you, you just be confident about what you are doing. Begin somewhere. Mula-mula macam nampak macam sangat amatur lah kan. Tapi lama-lama, as we are very comfortable with it, should be okay. So we can start drawing and having. What I like about it is that, Prof, and also to all participants, I'm thinking of, because I've just started off having visual note taking, but I would look forward to having all this content compiled in a form of visual books, because that's what we need. I believe in catering the needs of the types of learners that we have nowadays. So all the best in exploring notes. Actually, it is very simple. It's not so much features that I need to show because it is a very simple apps. Notes as well as Notability. Oh yeah, Notability also able to recognize shapes. Yeah. For example, let's say if we were to draw round, so it can still recognize shape. And the fact that we can resize, that is the best about Notability. Notes, we can only draw a shape and it is recognized, but we cannot resize. But for Notability, we can resize. Like for example, let's say if it is a square, okay, we can, if we are not happy, we want it bigger, we can resize. Just drag. Use your finger and drag. That is good about Notability. For notes, one shape, recognize, that's it. Notability, one shape, recognize, we can play around with it. Okay, so ya Prof ambil course online drawing tapi tak mau lagi Prof. Saya pun rasa saya pun nak join jugalah kursus online drawing. Because as for now, I do practice a lot drawing. I like drawing. Tapi the fact that being laughed at students sometimes sebab dia kata ada kelakarnya orang ni di doktor ni. So yeah, that would be great if we can have a lot of drawing practices. Tapi yang saya nampak in visual note taking, among things that we need to practice is macam yang tadi lah, if I were to go back to the 6 elements, fundamentals, just a bit of sharing before we end up. Okay, remember the 6 elements just now? This one. Practice on this one. I think we just need the right letters. We just need to practice on the bullets. We just need to practice on the frames, the arrows itself, connectors, a little bit of shadow here and there, and then the people. The people part, just focus on one type of people. If I am like myself, I would prefer using stickman. So I just draw a stickman all the while. Just all the way I use stickman. Never change to something else. Try, but sometimes jadi, most of the time tak jadi, especially the part of hidung and mulut lah. But stickman is the easiest. Okay, so just hold on to these 6 fundamentals guidelines of visual note taking, especially bullets, especially frames, then you should be okay. So we're all learners. I'm learning as well and hope everybody, as I hope that this session could open your mind to venture into something that is out of a comfort zone, because I myself, I always believe as I draw, I need to be quick. I need to get connected of whatever I'm trying to deliver to my students. That's what I like about using note taking as teaching, because it's not easy. Everything has to be in our mind. We have to have information digested before we can share with our learners in a form of visual note taking. Yep, in a way. Maybe, yes, Dr. Pak ini, my daughter can copy image from website, paste on good notes and reformat and color the image. Yes, one way is to use tracing. We can also use tracing for us to draw, but however, for notes and notability, we cannot use tracing. Tracing can only be done in Keynote. Keynote we can trace, copy image, insert in Keynote, and then we can trace, delete the image that we have used, and we can make use of whatever in our own form, in our color. We can recolor and do so much thing. Probably if I were to share some of the images that I have practices, I've been practicing a few. Yeah, maybe those who are watching on YouTube may be laughing at me. It's okay. But this is want to share, just to give motivation. Let me just check, where is it? Is photos, all photos. Just updated my iPad, so everything has changed. Okay, so let me just show some of the drawing that I have. Still learning. I hope we have one album. Okay, these are among the examples of drawing. A very simple drawing. The fact that we keep this kind of expressions, so that we can actually practice on drawing this in our note taking as well as in our content. So a lot of things that we can learn from the internet. Just keep on searching, keep on upskilling, keep on trying to improve my drawing. Like for example, this one I drew on my own. Of course, I did using tracing at the beginning, and then in the end it turned out to be like this. But it is ours because we drew it ourselves, we recolor, and in the end it is ours. So that's what I like about using all this iPad and so on, even drawing, because in the end it is our own copyright. We don't take from the website. Thank you, Prof. This takes a few minutes for me to actually draw. Okay. All right. So I hope you can leverage and make use of your iPad. If you have iPad, if you don't have iPad, I hope that you can try, or maybe you want to reconsider. Don't worry, I'm not selling. If you don't feel like, if you have a feeling that you don't need this device for you to be leveraged, it's fine. But if you were to ask from my own experience, uh, when I had iPad, when I started with an iPad, I did everything using iPad. I don't need any other tools. I don't need to subscribe any other software. So I just create animation, I create images, I create content, video, visualize all contents, graphic and so on using just iPad, regardless of either notes, notability, keynotes. I usually use keynote before this to deliver my content, but I am trying to challenge myself to look into something that is more engaging and interesting. And then I came into having the idea of using note taking as part of teaching and learning, which I think it is worth trying for everybody. We need to somehow sometimes get out from our comfort zone. Okay, who love their iPad here? Say yes. Yes, I do love mine. And I'm looking forward to have the new generation coming in. I think it is in, they said it is in March, probably in Malaysia in May. So trying to collect, nak tengok tabung mana pula nak pecah. So once you have one iPad, you will get what they call obsessed to it. Lepas ni memang anak-anak memang tak dapat lah nak main iPad dan sebagainya bila mak dengan ayah dah tahu how to fully utilize your iPad. So with that, perhaps maybe I can finish a little bit more on this. I always believe that we listen, we filter, we synthesize, and we visualize idea at the heart of our conversation. As we are, take it this way, as we are teaching our learners, we are having conversation with them. Having conversation is when we have a deeper engagement with our learners. As I said just now, as we are drawing, if we are out of idea, just take it this way. Ask your learners, what do you think should I draw to represent these key points? So a lot of conversation coming in, except if your class is very big, and then you have to re-strategize. Yeah, you don't talk about big group of class, but if you have like a manageable group, you can do that. A lot of conversation coming in. Try with your students. I think they'll be amazed to see your work. They will appreciate more whatever you are trying to deliver with them, instead of just having words which they believe there's no heart in it or soul towards whatever we are trying to deliver, just using words, as compared to graphic images, apatah lagi live drawing, draw it live with our learners. And I always believe that words are difficult for the brain to retain, visuals are concrete and more easily remembered. Hoping that by doing this, our learners will be having a deeper understanding of what they have learned, especially in terms of content, and it is easy for them to visualize things and remember. So yet to test the hypothesis, because whatever we have done is based on the reading. If you were to ask me, have I tested my hypothesis that students are more interested in this visual note taking? Yet, to be honest, I haven't tested. But if anyone is interested to do the study with me, I would love to have a team to study on this, and I'm open for collaborations. Maybe Prof would like to look into this because you said you are going to attend drawing class after this. So maybe we can look deeper into this type of study and test the hypothesis whether this is actually something that is transforming how education is done in the future. So I have touched on the 3 key points just now: deep understanding, visual note taking. I have shown a little bit of examples on how to create graphics and images. Remember the 6 fundamentals of visual note taking. There are 6 which are letters, bullets, frames, connectors, shadows, as well as peoples. Peoples in the end is the orang lady lah, statement is enough. And of course, in the end, I have shown on how to teach using these 2 apps, which are very famous in note taking. The native app itself, Notes on iPad, and if you have some allocation, if you are willing to spend on Notability, which is the price is RM16.90 now. Yes, Dr. Rushaini, coming soon pecah tabung. Nanti kita pecah tabung sama-sama because I need to upgrade. Once you are using it, you feel you have a feeling that you want to upgrade it because yang second generation, they have a bigger screen. So nak something bigger. Puas lagi nak draw kan. Okay. So with that, I would like to thank you everybody for listening. I'm very sorry beforehand if I stumble and everything. Actually, I'm not feeling well, Prof. But this has been scheduled earlier, so I do it. And I'm sorry if I stumble, if I had hiccups here and there. I hope whatever sharing that I intended to share has been successfully delivered to all participants. So before we end, maybe we have any question from the participant or any response, you can unmute yourself, or maybe I'll hand over to you, Prof. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Harwati. Yeah, maybe we can, we have a few more minutes here. Maybe any questions our participant can directly ask, just unmute the microphone and ask the questions. So, and at the same time, please fill up the form for the CPD point. Yeah, the form will be open, active for only 30 minutes. After that, we will close.
Wah, Prof punya the latest Prof. Gen 2, Prof.
I guess so.
Which pencil are you using? The Gen 2 pencil or
Yeah, the Gen 2.
generation? That means yours is Gen 2 lah, Prof. Wah.
Yeah. Dekat nak RM40 pensel tu.
600. Kalau
Yeah.
yang Gen 2 is
Yeah.
600.
So itu bila cucu nak main iPad, saya ambil pensel dulu suruh.
Kena belikan cucu yang the best.
Itulah. So ada soalan ke daripada ni Prof Zubir? Prof Zubir pakai Samsung. Samsung okey lah.
So
Samsung.
boleh.
Tak geng iPad lah.
Prof Zubir kena tukar lah. Boleh gang lah kita lepas tu kita buat look into testing the hypothesis kan, Prof? To be honest, I haven't tested my hypothesis yet.
Kalau nak masuk Premier League kena pakai iPad lah.
Saya dalam masa yang sama saya tengok apa Samsung Note boleh buat tadi, sambil you buat tadi boleh boleh attach sound, boleh attach semua. So saya explore juga lah sambil belajar.
Mungkin boleh apply
tapi sikit je lah.
Jadi Prof explore yang Samsung tu macam mana? Which one is nampak lebih kompetitif?
Nak attach suara. Sekarang nak attach video saya boleh, macam mana nak attach. Saya tengah explore kat ni. Tapi mana boleh nak challenge iPad kan. So dia memang untuk grafik, untuk tapi yang itu yang saya ada kan. Maximize kan lah.
Maximize. Actually Samsung tablet I think is very good.
Yes.
Good, yeah. Cuma iPad ni somehow I don't know lah. Somehow the something that set it apart from Android punya ni. It could be the app could be the interface, the way it works. It's just very different lah. Hard to describe, but it's different.
Yeah, I do understand when it is hard to describe because people do ask, alah dengan device lain pun boleh guna, tapi I cakap,
Yeah,
well, but you need to use it then you know how powerful it is.
yeah.
Yang baru pun kan dia kan Apple tak mau guna yang C punya, yang standardnya yang kita pakai sekarang, yang connector tu.
Oh, connector tu.
Kan dia refuse kan.
Yeah, we have to get used to it lah.
Ah.
Macam I punya MacBook Pro ni kan yang baru beli, I pun baru beli MacBook Pro ni. So dia pakai apa tu USB-C punya apa ni, tapi now I rasa dah okay, tak ada masalah dah. But just get used to it kan.
Yes. If you get used to it, you get yourself prepared with
Yeah.
troubleshooting, and you need to just understand your device better lah. In a
Yeah.
way. Kalau tidak macam menggagau juga.
Then beli accessories dia itu, I beli sekali dekat Switch untuk my MacBook Pro, semua ada. Dengan apa ni HDMI kah, semua segala macam. Satu benda ni mahal jugalah 200 lebih, tapi semua ada.
Apple TV ada tak, Prof?
Ya.
Apple TV ada tak?
Apple TV tak.
Izzat dah jatuh cinta dengan Mac dah.
Ya. Ada soalan
Karim,
kan?
Izzat dah jatuh cinta dengan Mac dah, so dia pakai Mac dah sekarang.
Oh ya, Izzat pun dah pakai Mac dah. Okay. Apa ni Dr. Rawati, for your information, anak Prof Zubir ni pun buat fizik juga, dah grad dah. Dan you check out dia punya YouTube channel, Mudahnya Fizik.
Oh, Mudahnya Fizik.
Mudahnya Fizik. Tapi dia pakai tablet Huion kan? Dia pakai tablet Huion punya tablet.
Wow, menarik ni. Boleh tengok. Mudahnya Fizik.
Ya, Mudahnya Fizik.
Fizik ya, tengok banyak lah.
Hebat channel dia. Dia monetize dia punya channel juga.
Wow.
Hebat.
All the young generations kan, the new generations tu.
Dia macam Khan Academy lah, macam Khan Academy punya ni. So, tak ada soalan-soalan ke daripada kawan-kawan?
I have one question.
Okay, silakan.
So basically bila kita buat this kind of teaching and learning, my most challenge adalah because bila guna iPad tu, bila kita share screen, kita punya video tak nampak. So I have difficulties to get the student untuk participate. So kadang-kadang we feel like we're talking alone. So macam ni nampak lively because ada a few yang nak aktif. Tapi kalau ada yang banyak yang tak aktif, so I don't know whether they are they participating or takut dia orang tidur, they just on the video and they're not listening. So do you have any idea on that?
Okay, Doctor, from my point of view, one thing is talking about sharing video. As for now, we have tried using iPad with Zoom, Webex, Microsoft Teams, as well as Google Meet. Cuma Google Meet, there are issues macam bila kita buka video, most of the times tak boleh nak play sebab dia macam tak match Google Meet dengan iOS tu, Safari tu. We can somehow, there are few things to be troubleshoot. Ada setting dia. Tapi if we are not good at handling the technical part, try to avoid using Google Meet when we want to share using our iPad, our screen using iPad. Try to avoid using Google Meet. The best platform to use iPad is usually either Zoom or Webex. Microsoft Teams pun okay, cuma Microsoft Teams tu kita punya discrepancy would be, kita punya disadvantage adalah kita tak nampak ramai participant. Of course we can see participant bila kita tutup slide, tapi kita tak dapat check semualah. When you are referring, that is the first issue. Second issue adalah on how to have interactive, or yang saya nampak lah, interactive and engaging session with our learners. Perhaps we need to strategize. One way is that maybe in a way when we are sharing our slide, whether we want to look back, the slides are actually ingat tak tadi yang saya lukis, whether what they are interested in and what we want to deliver. So in the end, the relevance part is very little. So in a way, try to embed a lot of active learning activity, like yang perlu student untuk give respond lah. Maybe we have to add in another tools. Kadang-kadang kalau saya mengajar from my point of view sendiri, I need to use other tools macam Mentimeters ataupun even the Google Docs itself. If we have kita nak jawapan yang agak critical from the learners, kadang-kadang kita boleh share Google document, create satu Google document, share the link to the students and let them fill in the blank. So kita nampak semua orang is collaboratively working on the same documents. So that is another way. A lot of active learning going on. Maybe we have to strategize how things are done lah within that 1 hour or 2 hours lesson. Tapi I do understand bila budak senyap tu kadang-kadang yelah dia punya reason would be internet slow, so they have to turn off the camera. Those are the things that a bit disappointing from our part lah. That is undeniable. But we keep trying lah to strategize our approach just to make sure that everybody involved and engaged in the lesson. So all the best, Dr. InsyaAllah. InsyaAllah we can.
Dr. Hawati, yang Apple Learning Community Malaysia ni, you are also there, right?
Yes, Prof.
Yang dekat FB group ni. So
betul.
saya galakkan semua yang ada di sini ni, especially the iPad users lah. In fact, yang bukan iPad user macam Prof Zubir, saya rasa boleh juga join this committee to see what's going on. And they announce dalam community ni banyak sharing lah, of course. Jadi mungkin event-event program yang berkaitan yang dijalankan oleh UKM, oleh Apple sendiri saya rasa. So don't miss all these opportunities to learn because you want to really fully optimize your iPad. So join this community so that you get to learn from all the people and from Apple as well lah. Rugilah kalau kita tak ni walaupun kita akan terus menganjurkan program-program menjemput pakar-pakar Apple Apple macam Dr. Harwati, Apple Distinguished Educator, Apple Teacher dan sebagainya. Tapi by joining the committee macam Facebook community tu, we can pick up more also from there lah.
Just for your information, Prof, we have currently 2 programs going on. One is content creation. Kita ada team yang tengah buat content creation. There are schedule, perhaps I will share with you in later the schedule. And then we have another group, another team which I'm involved with on creative writing. That is why when you saw just now the content we are doing on creative writing, how to maximize, leverage the use of pages.
Pages, yeah.
Pages. Because there are a lot of native apps that can be utilized in iPad. Macam tadi kita tengok notes kan, and sebelum mungkin banyak kita share on keynotes. There are a few more yang very powerful. Macam pages itself is very powerful if we were to look into publishing books dan sebagainya, EPUB dan sebagainya.
Siapa yang berminat nak buat e-book especially, learn pages ya. Sebab dulu kita ada iBook Author. Sekarang iBook Author telah di discontinue oleh Apple. But I still have the latest version yang sebelum dia discontinue lah dalam my MacBook. So sekarang ni banyak feature daripada iBook Author telah di incorporate masuk ke dalam pages. Walaupun tak fully, not all the features yet, I think, but they are now focused on pages saja. So pages now become very powerful untuk create any documentation books, e-books, magazine dan macam-macam lagi. So last time itu the last program itu Dr. Hawati buat pages kan?
Keynote
ya.
Content creating content using.
So maybe in the next one mungkin kita tengok pages what got.
InsyaAllah boleh Prof.
Boleh buat apa tu macam-macam lah pages kan.
Betul.
Macam-macam boleh buat. So mungkin the next one lah kot. So ada soalan last question maybe sebab dah 12 minit. So kalau tak ada, saya nak ucapkan terima kasih kepada ucapan terima kasih kepada Dr. Hawati. Mari kita berikan tepukan dengan menggunakan ikon di bawah tu. Tepukan.
Thank you so much, Prof juga and
Yeah.
CDAE as well as all participant USM. Thank you so much for the invitation. I'm honored, Prof. Every time when you call me, I rasa macam I'm honored by my sifu pula. You are one of my sifu. Rasa macam segan, but I'm so honored to be invited.
We can love each other. Thank you. Really appreciate your time and hopefully you get well soon.
InsyaAllah.
Itulah kerja kuat sangat tu. Kena rehat. Saya pun sama juga lah. I'm telling myself also.
Betul, bro.
Ya, sama lah kita kan. So terima kasih dan kita jumpa lagi insyaAllah. Ya, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and have a nice day everyone. Ya.
Waalaikumsalam. Thank you so much everybody. All the best.
All the best.
Happy exploring. Assalamualaikum.
Assalamualaikum.